All right, so we just finished up, we just did a little solar thermal problem based on the SponCon energy tech that we built this past weekend. And let's move on and take a look at the summary right now. Tim said he's been dipping into the summary forum, and they're looking great. And then David just had a question here, which I can answer, and that was, does this paper have a volume associated with it? Yeah, and in fact, the volume is volume 5. What it doesn't have is an issue associated with it. Yeah, right. So, and typically, I don't know exactly when this journal was established, but typically the volume is the number of years that it's been in publication. So, volume 1 would have been 2003, volume 5. 2008 is when this was published. And also conventionally, issues will be, like for a periodic journal, you'll have 12 issues per month, monthly periodic journal, 12 per year, 1 issue per month, so as many as 12 per year, but there's no real standard. Some journals do it differently. And to some extent, the volume and the year are redundant because they always run in lockstep with each other anyway. You might have 2 volumes per year, you might have 2 years per volume, but as long as you know the convention, they're going to be redundant. Okay, and then I'll just take a look into the forum too. Let's see what's going on in there. Weigh in myself a little bit. I don't know what's going on. A little more detail, okay. There used to be a way in these old forums to be able to just scroll to each one. So I had 11 unread.
Click on the forum itself rather than the unread posts.
Oh, okay. I still have to click on that individual. Okay, Torian. Well, it looks like you got it in there. Okay, so I can go back to the forum here, and then come back down to the next one.
You said it was due before class started today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because when I went to go submit it this morning, it said you're 7 hours and...
Oh, did it really? Okay.
Yeah, that's because it said 2 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
2 p.m. or something.
Oh, that could have been, yeah. I think I might have had 2 a.m. on there instead of 2 p.m. That was my fault. Okay.
I corrected that. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, how's this 7 hours late now?
That's good. You're a popular guy there, Todd. Details, personal opinions, yeah. One thing, and I think what you might have seen in that paper is, and it's very difficult not to inject some type of personal opinion. I think though what you could tell from the paper is that I was as quantitative as possible, and at some points like gosh, how many more numbers is this guy going to throw at me? And it does get a little boring, a little
That's
tedious.
part of doing the summary.
Yeah,
Is that there's so much exact information that you can't just reiterate that in the summary, so you gotta be vague,
Yeah,
but you gotta try and find that medium.
right. And so, just going back to my original motivation for writing the paper, I really wanted to understand better how our energy policy and our defense policy were interacting with each other. And so I did it from more or less a financial basis. Near the end of the paper, I put in, dollars per pound of food, dollars per barrel of oil, et cetera, et cetera. So, and near the end, some of my opinions came out. I said that in my opinion, it would be better if more Americans were educated as to how we get our energy, where it comes from, what the sources are. And so I had a hard time, not expressing that opinion. I think, and really, when it comes down to it, everyone's motivation for pursuing whatever they are is based on some personal bias. You can't get away from it.
Even some of the stuff you cited in your paper about the one quote from saying that was the whole reason why we did, the Iraq war, so we could control the oil and there, and reduce our oil prices so we could put it in our cars over
Right,
here.
yep.
And that's.
I was citing someone else's opinion,
Yeah, it's opinionated because other people have other views on that,
Right.
it was a completely different,
Right.
reason.
Right,
Well, I feel that's even less of an opinion than a fact, your statement that if people were better educated into the situation, maybe their arguments would be different.
Yeah, right.
That's a fact.
Yep. Yeah. So, but it's, it is important to express your own opinions in your paper. So without getting too opinionated, because another thing that I found.
You have to have supporting facts for those opinions.
Yeah, well, another thing I found, if you get too, wrapped up in your own opinion, at some point you just become ineffective, because you're sitting there just blabbing on about it and without actually having a plan or course of action. So, opinion is only as valuable insofar as you can.
Well, when I wrote this paper the first time, I had been retired for 2 months out of the military. And I was not pleased. And pretty much I went through, I'm like, okay, this is good information, this is good information, this is good information.
Yeah.
Flip the switch, never mind, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Yeah, we didn't go over there for that kind of, so it's, you do have to be careful of that opinion of, you may turn away the audience no matter how sound your reasoning is and how accurate it is. That is something to be aware of. Yeah.
Well, it's a really good point, and it's one of those things where I didn't want to disrespect anyone or turn off any audiences, but I did realize that writing some of the things would be difficult to, I don't know, process, think through, what have you. So, I'm not sure. Well, I mean, I guess we do know some of the reasons that were stated publicly for invading Iraq, and probably to some extent that was true as well. I don't think there's ever any one single reason for doing anything. So, okay. What else on the summary?
These days, it's impossible not to offend someone.
It's true.
When I was in Washington, they shut down at Pike Lakes Market, they shut down the fish operation where they threw the fish back and forth.
Yeah.
Because it was disrespectful to the soul of the dead fish.
Oh, really?
They protested down, like, you don't have nothing better to do than protest the rights of a dead fish. That's the world that we live in.
That's kind of funny. I was just in Seattle, and I noticed that there were no fish being thrown, but I didn't know it was because of a protest.
That's why. It's because they had a big thing where they were throwing them to the Wide non-receivers,
Yeah.
and they dropped them.
Oh.
And then there was this big thing that there's no respect being shown to
Mm.
these dead fish.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a big thing, and I was like, are you kidding me? This is the second thing you're actually protesting this? Like, how idiot are you?
That's, yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if the protesters were fish lovers or more sort of the PETA flavor, I don't, you know.
I just seen it, shook my head.
Yeah, well, I guess life is good if that's all you got to worry about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I do remember we covered that little bit of math confusion on the miles per gallon last time. I think we got that pretty well squared away. It's good. Good question.
Hoping it would be just as cheap to drive my truck. Might not even £5 a quart.
Well, I don't think there's any contest between a 14 mile per hour truck and a 50 mile per hour. Yeah. Mile per gallon.
Buy a scooter, I put $1 a week into my rig.
Okay. All right, well, so this is week 4. We've got chapters 3 and 4. I think we wrapped up chapter 3 last time, so let's just let's hop into chapter 4 and knock it out.